Hello and welcome to this May 23rd Points of Interest. I'm your host, Joey Traina. It's good to have you guys. Today's going to be a really good episode. I'm excited about it. I've been talking about it to people for a while, and we've been leading up to it in our episodes so far this month. The theme of the month is it's actually National Teen Pregnancy Prevention Month. So all across the nation, teens and young adults and healthcare professionals and family planners are getting together to tackle this issue because it's big and it's major in Georgia, especially, and then even tighter in Richmond County. But luckily, there's an initiative going on. There's the We Are Change initiative, and it's actually one of its groups is the Youth Leadership Council. We've got two members here today that are going to talk to us a little bit about what they're doing. And actually, I'm full disclosure, I'm a member also, but I'm on my way out. I will no longer be considered youth, and but hopefully we'll keep the conversation going. And we appreciate you guys, again, for tuning in. Let's get right to it and get to know our two guests. Today, we're talking to Jem Valencia and Davlin Holly, two members, again, from the We Are Change initiative. And I've gotten to know you guys already, but let's introduce you guys to the viewers. It's actually a pretty good time for you guys. You guys just graduated,
yes,
class of
sir.
2012.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In the building. They're brimming here with so much potential. Davlin, you graduated from?
Davidson Fine Arts.
Got it, right?
Yep.
And you're actually headed, where are you going?
I'm going to Howard in the fall, and I will be majoring in criminology.
Okay, fantastic. She already knows what she's majoring, you know what I mean? Like, goodness. Well, great, best of luck, and come back and tell us, anything we need to hear with your exploits. Jem, you graduated from?
A.R. Johnson.
Okay.
And I'm planning to attend Georgia Tech in the fall, majoring in biomedical engineering and hopefully Mandarin Chinese.
Okay, so full schedule, sounds like, and you guys will come back and see us whenever you're taking over the world or what have you.
Sure.
Sounds good. All right. Well, you got started with this We Are Change group. How did you guys find yourselves, in this position, wearing these shirts, out here trying to talk to young kids about pregnancy and STDs and stuff?
I got involved with We Are Change by originally being part of GCAP with the youth as a youth interviewer.
Okay.
So I went around Richmond County and I interviewed the youth and adults, and that's about it.
Right, and you mentioned GCAP. GCAP is hanging out right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's Georgia Campaign for Adolescent Pregnancy Prevention. And this is kind of the mothership. These guys are guiding, one of our guiding entities with We Are Change, but they're the statewide entity. We Are Change is, or at least our Richmond County section of it, is really focused on making the conversation specific to this area. But Jem, yeah, how did you find it?
Well, for me, it was nothing like that. I wasn't connected at all.
Okay.
But because of school, and I wanted to get more involved in the community and see how I can serve my my fellow teenagers.
Okay.
And so I decided to apply for a position in the youth council, and here I am.
Great. Yes, and we need, and like I said, I'm on my way out. There are some other older members on their way out. If you guys at home find any interest in what we're talking about today, or think you can be a good advocate for what the information we're trying to disseminate, by all means, please find us online. There's a couple different ways we'll talk about, and we'll have posted on our Points of Interest Facebook page. If you're not connected to that yet, please, during the show, get on your phone, get on Facebook, get on the computer, connect to us so we can get all this out as soon as possible, right? Because that's the idea with We Are Change, is to get the information out there. So on the issue of teen pregnancy and STDs, how big, I know you talked to some teens, so you've got some firsthand, and then in our meetings we've discussed it too, but how big is the problem of unwanted pregnancy and STDs, STIs for young people, and what are their attitudes about it?
Well, I know unwanted pregnancy is really big in Richmond County because Richmond County has the highest pregnancy rate for teenagers. It's even bigger than the state of Georgia.
Right.
So there's obviously a miscommunication.
So Georgia's already high,
yeah,
and the Richmond County is even higher within, so we have a higher percentage going on. And so what are some attitudes you think, or are people talking about it, or when they talk about it, what are they saying?
Well, they're scared. They don't want to contract any STDs, and they don't want to get pregnant and have a baby. And so, but they don't really think about the risks before becoming sexually active. So I think that's one of the biggest problems, and that makes it bigger than than themselves. And
sure. So it makes the problem worse,
right.
in a way. Having all this fear and anxiety or worry about something going wrong, but not having the education, I guess, or not having the conversations that need to be had, is kind of leading. It's self-perpetuating. It's a cycle. So yeah. But so with lack of education, sometimes we have myths float around, or we have misconceptions, or we have ideas that aren't accurate that lend to the problem. What are some of those misconceptions you guys are hearing or have heard?
I know one is that your first time having sex, you can't get pregnant.
Yeah.
That's a myth.
That's a big one. That's a big one. And I think, we've talked about that at the We Are Change initiatives, and but it seems like we all know somebody who's walking around thinking you can't get pregnant the first time, or you can't get HIV the first time, or you can't contract some sort of STD the first time. It's not the case, and We Are Change is here to change that idea that's floating around. But yeah, so the first time, anytime, you're at risk. What about like protection? Are there any misconceptions about young people protecting themselves? Or?
Well, they think that, oh, okay, I guess if I use one and I know my body, it won't happen to me. Like,
okay.
They don't think about manufacturing errors, and they think that 98% is pretty high for protection with condoms.
Okay.
It's good enough.
All right. So there's the idea that maybe you don't need to use something because you know your body.
Right.
But then there's the also false idea is if you just use one, or you use one method, that you're protected, you're good from everything. And we know about the programs, the evidence-based curriculums that explain it. Obviously, the only 100% way of protecting yourself from these things is abstinence. Don't find yourself in a situation where you're at risk. But then if you are at risk, or if you do find yourself in a situation, know how to protect yourself. And so that would be contraception. That would be using the pill, or different hormonal things, and even those, like, that's a decision that the individual has to make. Right. So another misconception might be that one size fits all, or everybody can use the same sort of thing. It's a more personal decision. But we're trying to get those conversations going. So that's great. And let's see here. I'm trying to get my questions in order. So these evidence-based curriculums that we're talking about, let's take a second, I guess, to address one. One is the Making Proud Choices. And so you may see this brochure out and around, but it's got some really nice facts, and also a way for you to sign up for one of these evidence-based curriculums. And so this one in particular is Making Proud Choices, which we've learned about and is really effective. It's an evidence-based program because it actually is proven to reduce the number of risk, reduce the amount of kids contracting STDs, STIs, and unwanted pregnancy. It's encouraging safer sex for those who engage in it, and also less sex just all around. So it's doing three main things. It's delaying the onset of sexual activity. It's reducing the risk by encouraging safer practice. It's also reducing multiple partners. So it's reducing the amount of partners long term for young people. People are making better decisions. They're reducing risk across the board just by thinking about it and just by having these conversations and getting into these programs. Where do you guys think these programs fit? Sort of, how are young people going to find out about these, or get involved with these, or want to sign up, or maybe have parents sign them up for it?
I think these programs fit where teenagers are located.
Okay.
I know that I attend the Community Arts Center, and I know for a fact they're doing Making Proud Choices.
Right.
So.
And that's where
the Augusta Mini Theater.
The Mini Theater. Okay. What is that? So South Augusta. So there's different locations.
It's on Deansbridge Road.
Deansbridge Road, right?
Yeah.
And Augusta Mini Theater, long-time performance staple in the community. The Butlers are doing a fantastic job out there, and they're implementing Making Proud Choices. So they're implementing a program that, because they see kids every day, right, or youth or teens. They're making this a priority, and that says something I think a lot about that organization, that they would take the time to care about the young people that they see every day, making sure that they can have the best outcomes. That's incredible. So maybe more of that, like where youth are. If you're at a community center or you're in some club or you have you're with a group, maybe the leaders there, or even at churches. You guys did some interviews with church, or I know the data that came back to us said that of 14 ministers in the community, they agreed that this kind of information needed to get out there, but we didn't all agree on where it needed to be placed. What's another place maybe that?
Well, one place that most teens are on always is on the web. So that's what the We Are Change people are trying to do right now. Yeah. We're trying to get connected in the social networks like Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter. Right. So wherever they are, like wherever actual location they are, they're on their cell phones and maybe laptops and computers. Right. So, I mean, they'll hear about it if they just get on the web. Got it. Yeah, and a lot of this information is being disseminated by young people. Right. Too. It's coming from guys like yourselves who are making this a priority. So, so when you guys post something, give me an example of something that might get posted by you guys through We Are Change. Well, like facts and figures about how teen pregnancy rates are going in the Richmond County or the state of Georgia, or maybe some other events that are happening since it is Teen Pregnancy Prevention Month. Maybe there's like an event held somewhere, like a health department, and it'll be posted on there. Great. So then people can actually try to go and everything else. Right, and so key information like where, when, how to protect yourselves and why. I mean, some people don't understand the risk. So some of the things you guys are doing are sending out statistics out there. And so for the viewers, or for our Facebook friends, when we get them, you find what they're posting, click it, share it, like it. With a couple clicks, you can enlighten someone else and give them the information maybe that they need or they should be cautious of or looking into. Easy as that, and that's because that's the wave of the future, right? This is we're all connected and in the cloud, what have you. All right. Oh, and well, another place that young people are for most of the year is school. Yeah. Right. Right. Mm-hmm. So, but there's some pushback, right? I mean, there's some rules, some red tape, right? Some apprehension. Not everybody's been sold, I guess, on this idea. But what does exist in the schools, I guess, is the abstinence-only curriculums. And not all abstinence-only curriculums are evidence-based. That's sort of the issue, is they're not actually getting the numbers out that we need to address this problem. So maybe young people like yourselves or adults that are that would help out with this initiative can maybe get it offered at least, so have the abstinence-only, but also have some evidence-based going on. Right. And even if it's not, I guess, what about like clubs? Is that, you guys have clubs at school, right? Yeah. Yeah, like maybe student council or honor society can even like ask or get involved in community service. Yeah. It could be, this program could be a set of community service that they can offer the students too. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, and even maybe if there was an Aaron Johnson We Are Change group, so there's the Richmond County Youth Leadership Council, and then maybe there's a representative from that group that can get something going, and with the right amount of support from parents and teachers and administrators, we can start really driving down these numbers, because teens are at school, teens are there to learn, and if we can teach them something that's really going to help them in the future, I don't see why not. But anyway. Some progress to be made on that. So there's We Are Changes. I guess it's a moving entity. There's more to do. So you guys have been doing this for maybe how long? How long was your involvement, or has your involvement been with We Are Change? If you can think that far. It's been a couple of months, huh?
Yeah, it's been a couple of months that we've been doing We Are Change.
Okay. I think starting last August. Yeah, was when August. They told us we were part of the youth council. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and I'm sorry, I didn't explain my. I was at the Boys and Girls Club, and I found out about We Are Change, and I had been through evidence-based curriculums myself, and saw them, and then became a resource, as you guys have been, I'm sure, to your friends. We took a sort of crash course in evidence-based sex ed, and coming out of that, we knew so much more, and we're able to be a resource for other people our age, what have you. But what else have you learned about access or protection or that kind of education or healthcare? What else? What kinds of things have you learned or maybe been surprised about coming through the process? Maybe there's some things that you learned that the other people needed to know, or something that surprised you during the trainings, or.
Well, it surprised me, like when during our meetings, when certain members would talk about their experiences, it surprised me how so many people didn't know about the actual protection and so many misconceptions that they had, and the questions that they would ask one of our board, like youth council members. And so I guess the most learning experience, the most like engaging part of being in this council was actually learning about other people's experiences about it.
Okay, because then it's funny because you find out that a lot of times you find out you're not the only one who has these questions, or is thinking about it. You realize, oh, there's a whole community of people that that don't know or could use this new information. So I guess it's the information itself is pretty surprising, or can be well, it's education, it's information. Obviously, you're learning. So did you have anything to add on that, Davlin?
No, I mean that was about it.
Yeah,
that was what I learned too.
Yeah,
basically.
And maybe I guess so. If someone else asks a question that you hadn't thought of, then it's another way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it's another, that's the whole point, I guess, of We Are Change, and getting the conversation going. So it's even working within our members. Right. Again, we're gonna be recruiting again for more members. So if you guys have found any interest in what we're talking about, find us online. We're gonna have the information on points of interest, but look us up. So where in Richmond County have you seen? Obviously, we need to get information, we need to get education, we need to get access out to people. Are there any other improvements that we haven't mentioned so far in getting kids on board, getting youth on board with this? Are there any other sort of improvements, any other ways? Or another way to answer that would be, what are some of the challenges? What are some of the challenges of getting information to young kids or young adults, young people?
Well,
teens there.
Some teens and adults are pretty close-minded. I mean, I don't want to use that term as like, being ignorant, but they're like
they might be closed off to this and
to the idea of talking about it, like out in public. They think maybe it's a taboo of, oh, you're not supposed to talk about that so publicly. Sure. So I guess one of the challenges would be trying to get them to talk about it. Okay. And so, yeah.
Or listen.
Or listen.
Maybe they don't have to be up in the, maybe they don't have to be on the We Are Change board and come on, TV to talk about it. But yeah, at least getting that conversation going.
Yeah, and I know that the health department, they're trying to make, it be more teen friendly for teens to come in if they have questions or to get contraceptive. Yes,
that's a great point. Sometimes the health department or the family planning centers, sometimes they don't have the best hours, or maybe the atmosphere, isn't, it doesn't suit young people, because who likes, I mean, you don't have to be young to not want to go to the doctor, you know what I mean? Yeah. But if you're a young person, if you're a teen, and if you need it, if it's an emergency, there's so much more pressure and angst and anxiety that goes into that. So that's another, that's a great barrier that in Richmond County, at least, it sounds like we're trying to get a handle on, making it more teen friendly. Yeah. All right, so let's see. I think we're closing in on some time here. If you guys had any questions, or if we didn't answer something on the show, right now, please post it online. Davlin and Jem are going to be connected, and we want to answer any other questions that may have come up. But actually, before we get to the last one, I do want to touch on some of the things that we mentioned. We talked about Georgia's high rates of STDs and pregnancy. Here's information that came out from GCAP. Georgia has the 10th highest teen pregnancy rate in the nation. So we a lot of times we make the last 10 of something. We don't make the top 10 in a lot of things, unfortunately. But just being honest. But but apparently we had the 10th highest teen pregnancy rate in the nation, and second highest repeat pregnancy rate in the nation. So it's pretty interesting. Not only are we more of our teens becoming pregnant, they kind of get locked into a cycle. Right. And we know that cycle also means dropping out of school, maybe not making it into college or completing college, or so the bar gets lowered obviously when you have to take on a full-on responsibility like that. Pregnancy, but also the cost that goes into treatments for STDs and STIs. And there's a cost. There's the individual cost. I know that's something that young people can be scared of, definitely. But there's also the cost to taxpayers, to me and you, to everyone who is out there, paying 7 cents on something or 6 cents on something in South Carolina. But in Georgia, it costs the taxpayers $344 million annually. Wow, I can't even imagine, $344 million annually. So every year we don't face this issue, don't look at it, don't try to address it, improve it, or we don't have young people like yourselves tackling it, we're blowing money big time. Just a couple other things there. Parenthood is the leading cause of school dropouts among teenage girls, and Georgia has the 4th highest dropout in the nation. So I guess it's all connected there. Yeah. Ooh, not here, obviously. We've got the grads in the building, so that's good. But that's something else that you can only imagine how that sort of extrapolates when so many of the state are dropping out, and then having to devote to bringing life into the world and or what have you. Then it's you can imagine what kind of effects maybe that has long term on the community or things like that. But every day, 62 Georgia teens become pregnant. So that kind of brings it into perspective. Every day, 62 Georgia teens become pregnant. That's 62 teens a day having to face a new reality that could have been preventable, right? Yeah. That's the thing. It could be preventable, and I think that's what's great about Wear Change. I keep saying it. I keep believing it. So be it. And that's 22,500 a year teens. And just another real number here. Georgia has 22.9% higher rate. I'm sorry, Richmond County. So we just talked about Georgia. Now Richmond County has 22.9% higher rate of teen pregnancy than the state.
The state, oh my.
So I mean that's a pretty big leap. But we can do something better about that. That's what Weird Change is about. Weird Change is about bringing that number down by 10% by 2015. So 2015 is going to be here sooner than we know it.
Right.
But 10%, that's our goal. That's what we're shooting for, and we'll let you guys know in 2015 if we made it, right?
Right.
And we'll keep getting high school grads and high school. You don't have to be a high school grad. The youth board can be was it 15?
Yes,
15
it's 15.
20.
15 to 24.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 15 to 24. Let us know if you're interested, or maybe you have a stake in this. I mean, we all have a stake in this, obviously. But yeah, by all means, sign up. Now, last little prompt here. Tell us just so I make sure if I missed anything, where can people go to find out more? And what advice would you give a viewer who's on the fence? I'm sorry, that's 2 different questions. Where would you send youth to find out more about what's going on? And repeat yourself if you have to, because I know we touched on it a little bit.
Well, I know that the GCAP website has information, so head on down to GCAP if you have any questions.
And stayteen.org.
Stayteen.org, that's a great site.
Stayteen.org, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And GCAPS is gcap.org, I believe. If not, we check the site. It's gcapp.org. Yeah, and so you guys get a lot of information about things from them. So GCAP, Stay Teen, they're coming out with some good apps now.
Yeah.
Right. Birth control information apps. But yeah, so and then
actual places like around the community.
Right, you can actually find out where in your neighborhood or where around Judah.
Health department, Boys and Girls Club, like the Making Proud Choices program. Mm-hmm. That's a great way to get more information.
Great. Yeah, and all right, so now here's the last one. What would you tell the viewer who's sitting on the fence about this whole curriculum? Maybe they're not sold entirely on, how effective, this stuff is or how important it is. How would you maybe frame that, make it real for them?
Well, the data shows that we need to make a change in Richmond County about you know, teen pregnancy and a lot of STDs and STIs are out. So
I guess.
we need to do something.
Sorry.
No.
I guess the best way is to get yourself educated about it first. If you don't know what you're standing for, like if you're on the fence, you might as well learn about whether you're for it or against it.
Okay.
You know, so
Sure.
just get educated about it first and then make your decision.
Right. Well, said like a true high school grad here. Very good. Yes. So get yourself educated. Find out more. If we didn't tell you enough on this episode, we tried to. We're burning up 30 minutes here just on this because it's that important. But yeah. So if you're still on the fence, by all means, find your own information out and get out there. We are at the end of our time here, but I want to thank Jem for coming on. I want to thank Davlin for coming on.
No problem.
And best wishes in your travels and where you're out headed to. You guys were the first gen of this We Are Change thing, so you know I'm really glad to have you guys on. And you know the next generation, next class, these are the young girls that you have to look up to for having gotten things started around here, and take the torch from here on with We Are Change. So all right, thank you, ladies. Keep up the great work, and we will see you guys next week. Next week's going to be another great week. We're going to welcome Brother Trav back to Points of Interest with an artist spotlight. I know you guys will be missing that. Keep posting on our Facebook page. You might be caught in the net, so to speak. You might become our Caught in the Net feature if you have a video or a song or an article or a blog, or if you see something really interesting out there you want people talking about. Maybe it's just a post or something, some observation you had about something. Put it on our page. See what kind of reaction it gets, and we'll see if it doesn't make it on the actual show as a feature of what we talk about here on Points of Interest. All right, guys, have a great week. Peace on the streets, all that. We Are Change. Think about it. Get the conversation started, and we'll catch you back here, Comcast Channel 4, 10:30s, Wednesday nights, and on demand. All right? Everybody have a great week. Peace.